and kuaiman.
Be afraid, be very afraid. If these two come marching down the ramp in mixed doubles action, you have to look out because they are our top seeds here. They're the third best in the world, and they are the pair that confronts the Korea Republic pair. We've seen them, of course, in action here already, but they come up against SHIN Yubin and CHO here with a 1-0 career head-to-head record against the Korea Republic pairing. And why they're so formidable is that they are a familiar quality, if you will, CHO Daeseong and SHIN Yubin, in marked contrast as we look at the format for this one to what we saw in the previous round, in the round of 16. Remember, this is a quarter-final that we're about to bring you here. Just that one encounter between these two. That came at the ITTF Mixed Team World Cup. And that one saw a 2-1 victory for the Chinese pair. Oh, there we are, 19 and 20 still only, LIN Shidong and kuaiman, but in terms of their doubles pairing, they've got so much experience. It's a youthful quartet, in fact, with 20-year-old SHIN Yubin and a 22-year-old partner. Daphne Lau's going to be in charge of this one, so let's listen in to her as she conducts the toss.
Please choose between red or black. Your choice. Red, black for you. Red, winner of the toss, what will you choose? Receive, who is going to serve? Shin to serve, who is going to receive? Kuai to receive.
All right, SHIN Yubin to kuaiman will be coming along very shortly when this one gets underway. I'm delighted to say that we welcome back Fraser Riley to commentary. There he was, sitting down to his 6-course lunch banquet, only for Wang Yidi to come along and race through her match against Pritika Pavard. So maybe a bit of soup, and that's about it for Fraser. Welcome back, though.
Thanks, I'm absolutely starving. I'm going to have a word with Wang Yidi later, but this is going to be one to enjoy, isn't it?
It
a
really
treat
is.
in itself.
You know what I was saying earlier on about, you know, the expected quality? These two, the last time we saw them, were in an entertaining affair against the most unpredictable pair you could possibly come up against. And that was, of course, the Luxembourgers. We saw the 61-year-old Ni and then her partner Mladenovic, the towering maverick figure. And they posed a lot of problems for LIN Shidong and for kuaiman. But with respect to the Korea Republic pair, they won't pose the same problems, will they? So these two Chinese players probably feel that they know what they're up against today.
Yes, it's a more orthodox style that they're up against. Obviously, Ni Shelien, a left-hander pen holder with pips, and Luka Mladenovic, one of the very, very few long pimple players at the top of the men's game. These two Koreans have inverted rubber on both sides. So, you know, there's 1,000 players in China that can replicate what CHO and SHIN do in mixed doubles. I expect to see kuaiman and LIN Shidong get through this fairly effortlessly, actually.
It's a big call when you look at the quality that we've seen from CHO Daeseong and what we've seen consistently from SHIN Yubin down the years. But I fully take your point then. It's a familiar foe. It's one that they are able to practice against, train against, and you know, let's face it, who goes against either of these young Chinese players right now? The form we've seen in all formats that they've played in so far here in Singapore this week.
No, absolutely. I mean, it won't be an easy match by any stretch of the imagination. LIN Shidong and kuaiman will have to play well to win. They always know that, and that's why they prepare so hard. And here's a look at what they're playing for as well with the points. LIN Shidong and kuaiman could go world #1. Obviously, Wang and Sun, the Olympic champions, not playing in this new Olympic cycle as much.
Yeah, that's right. So a chance for them to get upwardly mobile in terms of the rankings and also to get themselves a bit of silverware as well. But fighting on different fronts is always going to take its toll throughout the course of a competition week and event week. That's a surprisingly close fan vote. It's effectively 60-40. No surprise as to who's got the favoritism. Thanks for going to worldtabletennis.com, where polling is just one of the many things you can do to come as close to this sport, to come as close to this event as you possibly can. Normally, she's full of smiles and she's bubbly, SHIN Yubin, but this tells you a lot about the challenge that awaits. She's serious. Game face on. And here we go.
Love 1.
Yeah, I mean, CHO Daeseong, a very elegant left-handed player who picked up his first WTT series title at the Feeder in Manchester last year. He's the sort of new Im Jong-hoon, if you will. Slightly different style, but Korea Republic coaches picking him now to play with Shin as they're both so young.
Yeah, we spoke about that, and I must say we were hugely impressed in the way that they absolutely breezed past UNESCO and Sesh, the Romanians, en route to this matchup. He, in particular, was so impassive, so in control of things. SHIN Yubin's always a bubbly personality, but he was very, very calm, wasn't he?
He can hit really clean, crisp winners. CHO Daeseong. SHIN Yubin will, on average, stay a little bit closer to the table, act as the rock, the scaffold, which he will look to build on. But no, I was very impressed with their performance against UNESCO and Soch, who had defeated Bavad and Gozi, the European Championship bronze medalists.
He's snapping away there with the backhand, CHO, unable to find the mark, though.
It's a nice spin up from kuaiman. It's really, really high quality there. Very fine. Lots of rotation.
And of course, when we start digging into some of our tactical analysis, heat maps and so forth, we are going to be focusing on what we see a lot from the Korea Republic there. Just because of the combination right-left that we see. But you do see that happening. Straight down the middle.
Oh, my goodness me.
2-6.
Two poor receives from SHIN Yubin. Be interested to watch the serves back, but she's completely messed up both of those forehand touches.
Very heavy, and we're back where we started now. SHIN Yubin to kuaiman.
2-7.
And the worrying news really for the Korean Republic pair here is that LIN Shidong looks like he's only just waking up to this one. Once he gets going, things get really dangerous.
We've seen a couple of glimpses of that trademark backhand, haven't we? But the Koreans will try to make it hard for him to play that.
That's nicely done, and that's what you spoke about earlier on. When they get the opportunity and he's got room to swing at things, CHO Daeseong has got a super forehand.
Oh my goodness, look how it just skids along the table. That is almost uncounterable. That was absolutely fizzing. Watch this. Decent push, but the way he connects with that LIN.
Yeah, she doesn't come across anything like that, you'd think, on a regular basis.
No. Nobody does, apart from the other Team China players.
Again, SHIN is just not able to do what she wants, and suddenly it's 7 game points for the Chinese pair. Just clipping off the edge there, and that was better from SHIN Yubin and CHO Daeseong.
Yeah, nice forehand flick from SHIN Yubin. Deserved a bit of fortune after showing that initiative, but it will be a mere consolation, it seems.
10-4.
Again, she's all at sea against that LIN Shidong serve. And that's it. First game, easy as you like for the heavily favoured Chinese pair.
Yeah, I think they want to forget about that as quickly as possible, the Koreans. That was a poor opening. I think SHIN Yubin was the weakest link there, and she'll really look to improve after the Chinese win the first game 11-4.
Let's have a little look at the rankings here, and it is kuaiman and LIN Shidong. And you were talking about this earlier on with points up for grabs here. Above them, of course, you have got Wang and Sun, and then you've got, of course, on paper, the other of the Korean pairings there.
You could see a lot of movement between sort of places 4 and 10. Here's a table 3 result between a mixed nation pair, 2 mixed nation pairs.
Yeah, That's right there. So the Hong Kong Chinese pairing going down to the Korea Japanese pairing there. Kim and Nagasaki coming through 3-1 in the women's doubles there.
Who is going to serve? Quite.
So a game to
Second
forget
game.
behind them.
Quite
They
to
now
serve.
need to start all over again,
Love
the Korean
all.
pair. And that's a brighter start, straight off the bat.
Nice containing play from Shin, and then that extra racket speed, expulsion of energy from CHO.
But they're so
1-0.
sharp, so adaptable, and she goes across table there on that backhand, Kuaiman.
This is just so beautifully played here from Kuaiman, who is just so balanced at all times, it seems.
That's brilliant, because that came
2-1.
back with something on it from LIN Shidong, but CHO was waiting.
Great proactive pivot there from CHO Daeseong. Powers through the LIN Shidong top spin.
And again, the response is just so quick.
She is the hottest prospect in China on the women's side right now, Kuaiman.
They were statuesque, the Koreans there. Lin's busy around the table. She's so good at covering space. She gets forward particularly well. Kuaiman, I should say.
I think that they're both just such old heads on young shoulders. It's remarkable. The maturity and, you know, there's a lack of reaction. It's just a point. There's no emphasis on the importance to win a point, which means that in real time they're able to calculate with a certain clarity of mind.
There's also a brutality to her putaways as well. And that has to weigh on the minds of the opposition.
3-4.
Lin's annoyed with himself there because that was there for the taking, in his opinion.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter. That backhand, able to dismiss heavy topspin with such a hard-hitting shot. Because of the timing, he's perfected that.
5-3.
Now he's at it. Now he's noisy, chirping away. And you speak about mentality. These two young Chinese players are so hungry for success.
6-3.
Which is a scary thought, really, given their age and what could lay ahead for them.
They are just exceptional talents, and I expect them to be dominant for a considerable amount of time.
3-7.
I mean, even though Wang and Sun were selected for the Olympics, LIN Shidong and Kuaiman were defeating them on a fairly regular basis. They were already there, even though they weren't the ones yet being set up to be the best.
And what's fascinating about them is we very often see in the mixed doubles pairing two very different players, but there's a similarity to the way that the Chinese players play, which gives them that interchangeability around the table.
Yeah, absolutely right there, John. There's that much chemistry between them now. They don't even speak to each other during the match, LIN Shidong and Kuaiman. And when you think they're both under 20 years of age, that's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And neither particularly has to take a dominant role.
It is the perfect pairing. I mean, the Chinese coaches must be licking their lips.
They won't need a lot of coaching, you'd feel. 8-4.
If there is something, it'll be something very simple. Because they're so good at, you know, doing the complex things to a very high level.
And look at that adjustment that Kuaiman has made there, because again, you come back to individual technique, don't you?
It was a decent push, but she's able to improvise despite not expecting that.
And then the blazing rally ends up with a similar story. It's now 10-4. It's 6 game points for a second. And we saw this from Wang Yidi earlier on, a Chinese player in singles context, blazing away through a match. These two are doing something similar. Oh, how about that? The Korea Republic left floundering. The pair there all over the place as they drop the second. And it's no criticism of SHIN Yubin and CHO Daeseong. They are just being bested here.
Different caliber. What else can you say?
What you can say is that it's 2 games to love, and that is that. But that doesn't tell the full story. Well, it's been so dominant here, Fraser, from LIN Shidong and kuaiman. And if you want to look at winning ball placement, well, there have been plenty of winning balls.
Well, that says it all. I mean, that kuaiman backhand cross table was simply sublime.
You mean the 22%?
And the 37%.
Yeah.
I mean, even those angles that she made from a seemingly unplayable one.
SHIN to serve, love all.
And the way that they've manoeuvred a fellow lefty-righty partnership out to the same corner has been absolutely exemplary. You can get your pen and pad out and write some notes down watching this performance.
And SHIN Yubin is again tasked with serving to the opposition, and it's something she's just struggled with throughout here. In an individual duel, kuaiman is absolutely destroying SHIN Yubin here. But this is a doubles match, and it's amplified by the presence of LIN Shidong.
Yeah, I mean, SHIN Yubin's percentages are especially low here, and I think that
SHIN and CHO.
You know, CHO Daeseong doesn't want to really add to the weight that she already feels, so he's having to think about what she's doing as well as what he's doing, and it's just spiraling out of control.
I'm sorry, it is. They're trying to make something happen, but not just anything. It looks like it's a belief issue, really. In a match which is absolutely racing along. How about this for topspin? 8,000 plus revolutions per minute on that one. And it's lovely to break into these little tactical pieces of analysis and look at points, but there's a bigger picture here, and there's an overview as you look down upon this table in the Infinity Arena. And that overview is that this is barely a contest at the moment, Fraser.
Yeah, it's as I imagined it to be, really. I mean, LIN and KUAI at the moment are just unstoppable. They've won, you know, the most titles of any mixed doubles partnership since the launch of World Table Tennis, and they're only just getting started.
Now, I don't think it's unforgivable to start looking ahead to a semi-final, given what's happening here. But if they do, then they'll know that it's going to be the winners of the Alvaro Robles Maria Shao against Manu Shah and Dia Chitale. And with the greatest respect to all of those, one would imagine no one really wants to play this LIN Shidong kuaiman pairing right now. Although SHIN Yubin will take heart from that.
It's an amazing flick from CHO. Did well there, SHIN Yubin, off that chop block. Didn't take her eye off the ball. Knew that there was still backspin to consider that.
He misses CHO. And they are really in a position almost where you play the Hail Marys. They're just going to swing for the fences, aren't they, here, the Koreans?
You almost have to. And I don't say that often because there usually is another way.
5-1.
But, I mean, they've tried to vary where they can. They've looked to inject pace at certain moments, and LIN and KUAI have just seemed unbothered at most phases, most junctures of the match.
76%. Points won on serve. Wow.
5-2.
Did you catch that Wong Yidi match in any detail? I'm going to quiz you on this one. Right, here's one. What do you reckon her service win percentage was at the end of her match against Pritiga Pavard?
I'm going to go at least 70, 80% if she won 3-0 without a juice game.
86.
Oh my goodness.
3-5.
We knew she was good, but that was something special. Anyway, back with the doubles now, mixed doubles. LIN Shidong and Kuaiman producing something similar. Oh, that leaves SHIN Yubin on the floor, and that somehow, as unfortunate as it might have been, sums up this outing for the Korean pair. And that encapsulates it. Nothing fancy, but he gets the ball back there that shows absolutely driven at him.
That's
LIN
it.
Shidong.
And he uses additional forearm and grip of the rubber out of position to give his partner more time if the ball would have come back. And that's instinctive. He's not even thinking about that, really. It's just about percentages, and that's the best shot to play.
To think that you've got that just drilled into you. That's the quality of the players from China.
4-8.
Well, this one's nearly done, Fraser. This has absolutely rattled along.
Yeah, it's something to behold here.
It's lovely every now and then when the mask just drops and you get that little bit of a smile, bit of personality from these young players.
And
a couple of points, and this game is still alive. Within 3 now, SHIN and CHO. That's a good little run now.
6.
Within 2. Maybe there's life in them yet.
This is a nice couple of service sequences there. Serving relatively half long and then expecting a spin, you know, thinking about the ball after the one that you're playing.
And it's no surprise that the timeout is called. Into the minute we go. And really a question of just regrouping slightly for LIN Shidong and Kuaiman. You might just be talking focus. It's been too easy for them, hasn't it? So let's listen in and we'll come back with Fraser's thoughts on how they can get this job finished off. Time called, and it might just be time up soon for the Korea Republic pairing of SHIN and CHO as they prepare to face serve. 8-6 down and 2 games behind already. Well, they've come back smiling,
6.
which might just tell you that it's the case now. Let's enjoy the remaining moments of this one.
That's one way to look at it.
Hasn't been much to enjoy so far for them.
9-6.
That was an opportunity there. The ball just didn't come through as much as CHO thought it would have.
And LIN Shidong's laughing. Sorry, SHIN Yubin's laughing as LIN Shidong prepares to serve.
7,
and, you know,
9.
maybe she's thinking, well, you know, let's just relax and go for it. They'll play some shots.
You've got to be able to play like that from the get-go, which is easier said than done.
Seven,
but even then,
10.
you can play with as much freedom as you want. You still up against a wall there of the Chinese pairs making 3 match points.
Tried to catch her out with a long push there, LIN Shidong. Still a lifeline for the Koreans, but they're going to be on receive, and that could be trouble. And this is a quality Korean pairing, a pairing who won the 2019 Czech Open, defeating Ito and Mitsutani. You know, a pair that won the gold medal in Tokyo for mixed doubles. But look what's happening here.
Brushed aside, match points again, and that's all they needed, and that's all she wrote. And that is comfortably done. Okay, they got held up a bit in the third game there, having absolutely barreled through the first 2. But for LIN Shidong and kuaiman, their march here in Singapore continues. 11-4, 11-4, 11-8. The game scores there. And a tale of really almost total dominance from them.
It seemed over before it had even begun in many ways there. You question the belief, you question the difference in ability, but I think that the belief there was not enough. You've got to fancy your chances if you're SHIN Yubin and CHO Daeseong. You know, we're talking about the best pair in the world right now. LIN Shidong and kuaiman are the pair that you would, if you were a betting man, put your money on to win this entire event. Looking forward to seeing who they play next.
Yeah, let's have a look again in some detail at what they did. All they did was just be themselves, and you can look at the tactical analysis here and get into ball placement. Winners, of course, the glowing red ones there. They had the answers to just about anything that came their way, Fraser.
They did. They served well, received well, held the table brilliantly, found angles, stayed aggressive. Had it all.
Yeah. It's interesting there, we didn't see really the Koreans able to get wide and execute these shots. We didn't see Cho getting out wide and work onto that forehand. So the summary of the match there, 11-4, 11-4, 11-8, and they backed it up in the end with just about 67% service wins. And they were always in control. 21 minutes of action, and they progress now to the semi-finals. So something special coming your way now. We have the final in the Para Showcase men's singles. Victor Diduk from Ukraine up against Great Britain's Billy Shilton. And that's a fabulous way for us to showcase their talents and to round up this session. It's up next.